You're listening to 107.3 FM, the Minutemen Talk Radio Show.
It's over 9,000!
CT Ron.
Darling.
The Dark Frenchman, Steve.
Oh, oui.
And the Squid. On the Planet X Network, Arizona's independent political talk show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Minutemen podcast, the only show rocking out of the West in the reddest state in the West, Arizona. I'm your host, CT Rob, with the Squid.
How you guys doing?
And CT Steve.
Yo, what up?
Lucas Maximus.
How's it going?
And I got some shout-outs for Peregrinus, Freeloader Logawar, Eric, Arizona Senate Race, and Sassy Girl. Thank you guys for being awesome Twitter followers.
Yes, guys.
Today our main topic is, what does Trump know about UFOs? Today on the Minuteman podcast. Anybody can guess what that intro's from?
I do not.
That'd be interesting. I want to hear from the audience. What song was that?
So everybody's doing today.
I'm doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good. End of the show, huh? Last show
before the new year.
Yeah.
Yep.
How you doing out there in Cali, Luke?
Doing good. I'm fighting back a horde of pedophiles. So.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, let's get started with the week recap. All right, so the holiday season is over, and like our president said, it's time to go back to work. Then he went golfing for the 35th or 45th or whatever times he's gone since he's took office. We don't count anymore, just like the Congressional Library, which has now said that they will no longer archive Donald Trump's tweets. And that's a shame, because we need to archive the madness. It is a shame to let Twitter shoulder this burden themselves. Pretty soon, Twitter's going to have a vault of nothing but Donald Trump's tweets. Yep. So, and also, too, what is it here? With, Donald Trump has actually spent, what is it now, can you guys believe this? It's over, out of the 111 days?
I read that, yeah.
Of his 341 days of his presidency, he's spent at properties that he owns. And, despite all this, it's okay to still blame it on Obama and Hillary for everything that goes wrong in this country, because people are saying legislation isn't getting passed. But hey, who cares?
This guy is...
But what's kind of funny, he ragged on Obama for going golfing and 111 days at one of his properties. That's a golf resort.
It's he's already gone more times in his first year as president than Obama in his whole presidency. Obama apparently went only like 35 times in his whole presidency.
He did, yeah.
Wait.
Trump's already at that number.
Wow, really? I didn't even know that fact. In a matter of 8 years, only 35 times?
Yeah. And he's a lazy president. So let's get into the first article I wanted to talk about today. Let's talk about the 5 Republicans. This is actually from the Hill. The memo. It's called the memo. 5 Republicans who could primary Trump in 2020. And this is actually a really good, juicy article. So I actually want to get started with the first candidate they got here. So get this, Jeff Flake.
Flaky poo.
That is funny.
Yep. They're saying that Jeff Flake, would actually hold a candle to Trump in the 2020 election. I mean, what is he going to do? He's going to get up there and be like,
"Hello, my name is Jeffy, and I like to eat apples."
That might actually win, though. That might get people intrigued. Like, well, he likes apples, though.
I mean, it could work.
I mean, I don't know how that would even work. I mean, he's not even good enough to be, reelected in his own state by the Republicans here. Let alone, what makes you think they'd all get behind him in a national race for presidency?
It's like, listen, you're not even looking at the point. His last name is Flake, and I like Frosted Flakes. They come together.
I would.
Go ahead, Luke.
Jeff Flake has only a single constituency, and that's like moderate Twitter liberals who wouldn't vote for him anyway. Who are just so obsessed with their decorum that it's like, oh, fine, Jeff Flake, you are so respectable when you when you say what Trump does is bad and then you vote for him on
Right.
Yeah.
Like for the tax bill and everything.
Yeah, fuck Jeff Flake.
Yeah.
He is Arizona's greatest cuckold.
Yes, he is. I will agree to that. I mean, Flake, he is a flake. Let's just get it right. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's like when we did that segment, like, Jeff, you know, we don't support you, man, but we understand. We get it. But don't try to get past that threshold. You're not listening to us, Jeff. We already told you you're the most hated person in Arizona, and there's a reason for that.
But he doesn't understand.
It's not about policy. It's because you don't kiss Trump's ass. Now, unless he gets on his knees and really starts going to town, there's no way Jeff is doing anything. So the other person they got is Ben Sass, the Republican from Nebraska. He's a big climate denier.
Man.
Yeah, he's I think I've seen him on Bill Maher once.
Yeah, he did. He had a segment on there where he basically
That's
adamantly.
also a very old school conservative Republican. Like he's part of. Like I think he's very much that social conservative, fiscal conservative, evangelical type. You know that I think are basically on the way out if they don't line up with Trump. I think there's a small selection of these the evangelicals who, for better or worse, do agree that Trump is completely antithetical to their principles, but and are kind of pushing back. But most of them got in line because they knew the writing was on the wall, and some people just have not woken up to the new reality. This is the future of the conservative movement. Sorry, boss.
See, that's actually a great point. I think that's another point you need to make for Jeff Flake. It's like, Jeff, just do what everyone else does. Get behind Donald Trump and get in line.
Just kiss the ring. That's all you gotta do.
Kiss the ring, man. Just do what everybody else has to do. So the other one we're talking about is New Mexico Governor Susan Martinez. You know, right? Automatically, I don't mean to be racist, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but just Martinez. That's not going to go over well with a lot of rural people outside New Mexico. I mean, goddamn, you have a whole party right now just hungering for the blood of brown people. It's like,
that's true.
What makes you think they're going to vote for anybody? Even if she, I actually have never seen Susan Martinez, to be honest with you. I just kind of heard of her.
She's not in the news. She doesn't do any media.
Right.
She would have to basically start now if she was going to build up the momentum to do a primary run, which again, this whole primary thing is that seems very unlikely. Not saying it won't happen, but does seem very unlikely. I can't remember a situation where, probably because I'm so bad at history, where at least in modern times, where a party primaries the incumbent, their own incumbent.
Right.
But,
and apparently she's already, and this is I guess from what I'm reading in this article here, is the only big thing she has going for her. She's been critical of Trump's rhetoric on immigration. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over well with Republican voters.
Not at all.
That's a brave comment.
Yeah. And also, who cares?
Here's an interesting one. Kasich. John Kasich.
Yeah.
Though I have mixed feelings about John Kasich. I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy. I just think he's too much of an old school guy. He kind of represents that flake wing of a whole. We like to screw you, but let us smile and do it.
Yeah, old guard.
You know what I mean?
Total old guard.
I also think just again, let's remember the track record. Kasich did have his chance. And in fact, Republicans did try to put their weight behind Kasich in the primary. Like when it looked like either Cruz or Bush weren't gonna quite do it, there was some hope that maybe Kasich will, pick up slack. And he couldn't win Ohio. He couldn't win Ohio. That's the simplest fact.
Yeah.
If he was that good at what he was, he would have won his own home state. He didn't. He barely got his own. He barely even got second place.
Yep.
So no. Again, it's like you gotta look at these things from past experience. The dude if the dude couldn't win when the Republicans wanted him, how are they going to do it if this primary, which would almost certainly split the base
right
irreparably?
All right, and I don't know who wrote this article here in the Hill, but let me tell you who their next choice is, and this one's a good one. It's Green Eggs and Ham Ted Cruz.
Oh God.
Yep.
You are really dumb. For real.
I've warmed up to Ted Cruz.
What?
Whoa.
Shock, what? Go ahead.
Really?
No, because of that whole Twitter thing when he got caught looking at porn on Twitter. You know what? I get it. Dude's a repressed sex freak. Like, I get it. Have you seen all those photos of him just like his wife having to force herself to be affectionate with him on
yeah, I have, and his daughter. Yeah, I have seen those videos. Yeah, I just have to say, who cares about Ted Cruz anymore? I mean, even people on the Hill say that he's a son of a bitch. I mean, we had Joe Basacci on the show just the other day talking about that, how he met Ted Cruz, and he slammed him here on this show. So if anyone didn't check that out, go back and listen to our last show. Joe Basacci slammed Ted Cruz pretty good because we were talking about Ted Cruz posing with that Obama cookie, and him smiling like he's never smiled before in his life.
Most weirdest smile I've ever seen somebody.
God, it was creepy.
Yeah, it's so gross.
Well, even Eric Trump's smile was creepy too.
Well, Ted Cruz is he reminds me. He's just a guy that's got that face and that aura about him.
That face you want to punch.
Yeah, right. But not really. It's like you want to punch him, but you also don't want to touch him or get near him either.
Oh yeah, he's like the gross kid, right? It's like want to throw him in the dumpster.
It's like I just want to hit him with that slime from Ghostbusters 2.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely
I'd like to just cover him in salt first so it doesn't get slimy.
Salt like a snail.
Gale the snail.
Oh my God, we need
some reporter doing that now, destroying.
Someone's gonna salt Ted Cruz. If you guys are a true fan of this show, someone salt Ted Cruz and see him next and be like the Minutemen set.
See him like trouble.
Let's clarify. We want you to salt him.
Yes.
Throw actual table salt.
I don't want to get that visit from the FBI.
Oh God, yeah, we're terrible here on the show. So let's move a little bit to the left, and by that you guys know I'm going to be doing some Democratic bashing here because I want to get to the show before we jump to the next one. So there's a split in the Democratic Party on whether to impeach Donald Trump right now, and let me tell you about it. It's pretty gross. I mean, some of it basically is because they don't think it's a good idea. One, because of the donors. That's a big thing. Because some of the moderate corporate Democrats are walking hand in hand with Donald Trump, and because they think it will hurt the compromisation of Washington, that they need to somehow have the Republicans on their side to do this. I can't keep thinking about it every single day. We're on this show and we talk about how the Democrats are so weak. It's like, what the fuck are you looking for? A goddamn morality car wash here? I mean, what's going on?
They keep getting.
It's not going to happen. They backed a pedophile.
Right. They hated the Democrats so much that they walked with Roy Moore to the very bitter end.
Yes, exactly. They went down with that ship, and some of these people are saying too. Some of the more moderate Democrats in the redder states don't want to even go think about impeaching Trump because they think it'll hurt their re-election bid.
They just not care about the party anymore.
They don't, dude. It's the party of the donors.
It's my goodness.
I mean, my God,
they're gonna get.
They talk about the Republicans saying country over party. I mean, goddamn, I think this is the Democrats saying party over country right here. Sorry. Yeah.
Keep going.
No, go ahead. Look, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. That's it.
Oh, okay,
but it's true though. I mean, at this point, we just gave up a good point. They followed the person that was accused of these allegations all the way to the end. So they stuck with their guns, right? The Democrat.
But this kind of goes with I want to bring this up because I've been facing a lot of backlash every day on Twitter, as you guys know, when I talk about this stuff about how the Dems don't really stand for much at all, and you get a lot of moderates that get on me about saying, "Oh, I'm just trying to demonize the party," and I'm like, "No, I don't want. I want the Dems to stand for something. I want the party to actually stand for something."
Yeah.
They sit there and go, "Oh, your purity test, blah blah blah." Well, this is what you get when you get a party that's bought by donors. You want something done. This is how it doesn't get done. But even so, I love how some of them feel like there was one Democrat in here talking about how they need to have the Democrats who need to oppose in '98. They need to all be. It's like it has to be a partisan thing. It's like this is before the invention of the fucking internet, man. It's like people know shit now. People aren't just like in the dark unless you tell them in the paper.
Right.
It's like people know. You can't just slide by.
It's like they're so.
Well, I guess you can because people know. They just choose not to care, or just play for the party.
But they're doing the thing.
Mentality.
It's the Hillary Clinton tactic. It's the whole. Well, the internet doesn't affect me, so it doesn't exist, right? It's not going to help me in any way, shape, or form. So just act like it doesn't exist.
I've said for a long time.
It's weird. Again, this super weird thing that the Democrats seem to have that that the high road will play out well for them at the end. And again, I don't necessarily want them to play dirty, but this idea that having a level of decorum and reaching out and friendliness will somehow get Republicans on their side, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Again, it's like we go back to Roy Moore. If somebody if these people are so against you that they will follow Roy Moore into hell, what chance do you think you have to reach out to them?
Right.
You literally have a choice between anybody else and that motherfucker, and he's still in there. It's like, don't stop acting. You have a base. And the thing is, you don't even know the full extent of how you can build it. It's like, use them, but again, it's the donor. It comes down to
money and politics.
Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes, most of the Democrats are huffing and puffing. They did very little to stop this bill when it could. All they did, the biggest stuff, was just trying to alleviate it with additional tax credits, additional subsidies.
Right.
They didn't try to stop it dead in their tracks, which, if they genuinely opposed it and should have opposed it on behalf of most of Americans, they could have done something, and they didn't. And they did it.
I agree. All right, let's.
Who gives a fuck? Because after all, even I got to throw Bernie Sanders into this, and I'm sure, and not to truly bash him, he's generally considered one of the poorer members of the Senate.
Yeah.
He still makes about 6 figures a year.
Yeah,
true.
He probably pulls in a lot more now because of.
Most of that's off his books.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of all his books. But yeah, I would say most of the congressmen, even most Democrats, have no gauge on how devastating the tax bill will be for people, because again, they just don't simply know. They're a bunch of rich folks.
Well, that too, but we're also getting we're getting a handout from the Republicans for the next 5 years, I think it is. Where we're actually going to see a little increase in our wages and an increase in our paycheck, but we're just going to pay for it later on.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to happen. In the next 5 years, it's going to come down on us.
Which, to our credit, that's a very American thing to do.
Right. Yeah, it's like go from no debt to good old-fashioned American debt. I mean, that's how much more American can you get?
Take up some more debt, spend a lot more, and then we'll worry about it later. Don't worry. I am not immune to this behavior as I sit there with a bunch of fucking credit card debt in California.
All right, let's move on to something a little more fun. All right, let's move on to a real shark. We haven't done a real shark in a while. Let's kick that off. All right, so I want to talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Okay, let me go first here. Luke, let me ask everybody: has everyone seen it here on the panel?
Yes.
I've seen it.
Okay,
Yes, I have.
let me go first, and then I'll let you all have your say, because let me tell you the story of what I've gone through. I did not get to see it opening night. I had the tickets and everything. I already had the tickets for this thing, but I had to go see it because of the old lady, right? Had to wait for her to see it with her. So I was in a predicament. So I finally actually got a chance to see it. But let me tell you, before I actually went and saw it, I had a lot of my conservative friends went up to me and were like, "Have you seen Star Wars, man? Have you seen?" I'm like, "No, why?" And they're like, "Oh, dude, there's such a liberal agenda in it. There's stuff about climate change in it. There's forced feminism in it. There's all this kind of stuff in it." And then I seen about on Rotten Tomatoes how the critics were raving about it, and then all the users were really shitting on it. And then it turned out there was an article that came out and said a lot of those were bots.
Yeah.
Fake user accounts that were on there, registered one time to review that movie just that one time. So, it was really, really interesting. So then I was like, okay, God, I have to see this movie. So I went there, went to the good theater, took my seats, watched the film. let me tell you how pissed off I am. All right, let me, and I'm gonna go off first. I'm gonna do it in 2 parts, all right, and then we can go off on it.
We can go forever.
Okay, so let me just start off with this. The whole political agenda that I heard, the whole there's climate change, there's forced venom. What the fuck are you talking about? It was fucking Star Wars. There was nothing in there that was forced liberal. And let me tell you, I have heard some of the arguments. Oh, like the planet with the salt on it. That's a representation. What the fuck? It was just a planet. That was. They even said it was a mining planet. Not just that, but then the whole. They were talking about. Whoa! Oh my God! What was it? Oh my God! The women characters forcing feminism. I'm like, so what? That's Star Wars, man. You get so mad, you get triggered when there's like a female character that has just a small role in this whole. What is it? It's almost like a. Where are we at? We're at what? 9 movies?
Yeah, 8.
We're at 8 movies now.
Well, 9.
We're at 9. Yeah, no, 9 movies.
9 coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 movies. And it's like out of all those movies, it's like seriously, these female characters have such small roles, and then you get triggered by that. Then they were like, oh, the jokes in the movie. There was jokes after jokes after jokes. I didn't see that either. I didn't hear that either. But, the thing that pissed me off the most is how everybody was like, oh my God, you see all that liberal agenda being forced? And the only thing I came out of that theater, I was so mad, and I told everybody the next day, pretty pissed off, because I feel like you made me go see a movie I just thought was okay. Not only that, but it didn't have anything you said that was in that film, but it was just an okay plot. And by that, I mean it was barely good as a Star Wars film. And we're gonna get into that and break that down a little more on the real Shark, and I'll tell you why I thought it was actually bad. But the point I'm trying to make is all this bullshit I heard from all the right and whoever the hell you are that's sitting there saying Star Wars has this and Star Wars. You didn't see the movie, and if that was what you went in and you were looking for it, that's what you found. Because the whole movie, all I could say was, this is Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars, the whole movie. Now. After that, let me get back to why I thought it was just a bad plot. So, I really didn't like the way they took Luke. Actually, Mark Hamill, I heard a couple interviews with him doing the show about what he thought about it and how he didn't like the direction they took Luke. And I have to agree with him. His take was the only
very
decent review I thought of the whole movie itself. He said, whenever I would try to change things, Disney would call and say, hey, you can't do that. And see, like I said, I thought it was just a good. I thought it was a okay plot. I didn't like the way they made Luke, because I didn't like the idea of us watching, the original 4, 5, and 6 to see that this guy is the chosen one, and then they dumbed him down in this movie, and then it was like, okay, so if he's meant to bring balance to the force between these 2 naive kids, one with the good, one with the bad, congratulations, you just fucked up Luke's legacy. The other thing that I couldn't stand either was this whole idea of Luke Skywalker in the original movies was so bent on his father just has that glimmer of hope, that little flutter of good in him, that he would do anything. He wouldn't fight his father. He wouldn't do anything, but oh my God, his little nephew gets a little emo and gets a little darkness in him. He has to kill him. I gotta kill him.
I see something
and
that he might.
The way they made Luke, I was like, he's the Jedi Master, son. He ain't scared of nothing. We've had so many lore and so much of the games. We've seen what Luke's done. It's like, he's the Jedi Master, dude. You just made him some, lonely, almost like a Ben Kenobi hermit on this island guarding these old books.
Yeah.
I was like, congratulations, you ruined Luke's legacy.
The original Jedi books, yeah.
I hated Rey. I thought Rey became an even stupider character. I don't want to get technical, but when he, went to the darkness, he's like, you went to that darkness fast. I'm like, well, then you can't train her. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, let's just skip past that part.
What's the point of it?
And then that was the other point of the movie, too, and I'll let you guys count off on this, but last thing, too, I didn't like the whole beginning of the movie, too, because it was like, oh, we gotta go sneak onto that ship. And then we failed. And I was like, well, why didn't we just start the movie right here? Because we would have been at the exact same point. Another point, I'm sorry, I could keep going on this for days. The real political point of that movie that no one is talking about was the guy, I'm sorry for forgetting his name, the guy who played the Codebreaker, the guy who...
Oh, Benicio del Toro.
The guy who was in a First Order cell, breaks out, betrays the First Order, gets paid by the rebels, then gets paid by the First Order to betray the rebels, gets away scot-free. Now that was the real point of that whole movie, was that money talks and everything, whether you're right or left, because that guy was selling weapons to the rebels and the Empire. So I don't understand why no one brought that up. All right, I'm sorry. I'll let you guys chime up on that. So that's. I just want to say, I would give it a 6.5 at best.
Okay, I want to hear Luke. Do you have anything to go off of what Rob said?
Okay, yeah, because I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was weird that I found myself in a position of defending what was at best very okay movie. Just the sheer vitriol. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what it was? And I came up with the analogy to make another movie point. It felt like they had given you the They Live glasses, and they're like, watch what this movie is. And you put them on, and you're like, I don't know. What the fuck are you talking? What's going on? I'm just seeing the movie again. I would say that like there are moments where they are trying to like add some like complications, some nuance. Again, the whole money talk thing. I thought that was a really interesting point. That most of the Star Wars galaxy probably doesn't give a shit about the rebels of the Empire. They just want to live their fucking lives.
Right.
I thought
that's true.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
That was a big thing.
And I thought like maybe that's an interesting idea. That like maybe you guys should just ought to like do something and like leave these people alone, or like realize there's something a little bit more complicated than just like conquest or evil and light and dark. I will say this: I did actually like the Luke stuff. I know it wasn't like.
Oh, I enjoyed the end of it.
I mean, yeah, I would say that last part was.
When he became physically the Force, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a good send off. You know, I'm okay with the idea that like Luke just like fucked up again because that's just how
pretty much. I know, right?
But yeah, the thing about it is just like that middle part is just too long, and is that weird casino distraction. It's like it feels unnecessary and outplayed, and the whole plot is weirdly placed. It just seems, but this is what I feel was going on. I feel that the director, Rian Johnson, who mostly only directed smaller pieces at this point, and some of his smaller stuff also has similar issues with that. If you've ever seen Brick or Looper.
Yeah, I actually like Brick.
Yeah. Why like Looper?
Yeah, I like them both, actually.
I like them, but like they also have that same issue where they like they seem to start really strong. They have these really strong premises and kind of like aren't quite sure how to get to the end point. But when they get to the end point, it's awesome. It's like they're kind of like oh, how do we get to this great payoff? But like it takes them a while and it gets a little wonky. So to me, obviously the movie was too fucking long, way too fucking long.
Yeah, that was the problem. That was a big problem.
What about that Leia part?
Oh fuck, Jesus Christ! I was like, I kind of wanted to leave.
Yeah,
I was so cringing in my seat when I saw that part.
Do you guys know what part they thought was sponsored by PETA? That I heard one of my friends tell me, my conservative friends tell me, when they're writing those hyena don or whatever the hell they are.
Let them go.
Yeah, and they're like, he's like, oh, dude, did you see? They were like listening to her and everything like that. It was clearly representation of PETA, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Here's the thing. Okay, like.
I'm like, that's Disney.
It's Disney, but like, isn't the subplot of animals being used for professional sports being abused, like that's like as old as fucking time. That's literally there's literally a Bible story in the Old Testament about like abusing a donkey, and they abuse the donkey so bad the donkey starts talking. It's like, hey, stop abusing me because it's against the word of God. Like that's a liberal thing. God. But yeah, the Leia thing was dumb, and it was dumb and unnecessary because it's like that would have been a good send off.
Yeah, right. I thought. Yeah, I was confused when that happened.
Yeah,
they should have edited it to account for that. I'm sorry, you could have literally cut out that whole plot, and it would have been
exactly
right.
Also, let me add another plot hole that I don't know anyone else picking up on. But when they were like, they've invented a hyperspace detector, I was like, what? That's not a thing already.
You know what's kind of interesting is in Rogue One they kind of hint at that.
What?
The hyperspace tracking. They hint at that in Rogue One.
That they don't have it?
But that they're coming up with it. They're coming up with the idea for it.
Okay, they came
a little
up with
late in
the
the
idea.
game.
Yeah, a little late in the game, and Rogue One was like a prequel to New Hope, so it took them like that long.
And not to mention, you had the Republic in the first 3 movies, where the Republic was really advanced and technology was bristling in the golden era. It's like no one was like, "Hey, we should have had a hyperspace tracker."
Well, I mean, I found that kind of interesting. No?
Go ahead, Luke. We'll start over.
my thing, yeah, I want to say that the thing, all the stuff that wasn't working, to me seemed that Ryan Johnson was trying to do something different, trying to make like really strong choices. And I'll admit, from some people's reactions to Luke to some people's reactions to like the social commentary, and I do think it's social, but it's a really light social commentary. I think he was trying to do something different with the series. And after everybody gave Force Awakens so much shit for basically just being a remake of A New Hope,
It was.
He's trying to do his own thing.
yeah, this is trying to do its own thing. It didn't work all the time, but I would much rather a Star Wars movie try to do its own thing and fail than just try to be a reboot of another movie that we all like.
True.
Right.
You know?
All right, let's.
I don't want Disney to get cold feet on this. Like, try to do your own thing. Just don't make it 2.5 fucking hours.
Right, yeah, and don't fill it with like filler.
Yeah, and seriously, just have somebody read the script a couple times to make sure it makes sense all the fucking
Right.
way. Like, there was just some 101 stuff that just was like, this didn't need to happen. And even then, and again, literally, just if Leia had died at that moment, it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Agreed.
I mean, granted, the final scene with Luke and Leia, that was a really good bit. I would actually give them credit to that.
Yeah, that was good.
Incidentally, that's one of the things. I think the character stuff, the one-on-one, where that was pretty solid. The only action scenes I really liked was the Kylo Ren and Rey fighting the red dudes.
Oh, the Emperor or the Snork
I actually didn't like that part.
Really?
Excuse me. The only reason why is because those guys are supposed to be, from what I remember, if I could be wrong from the lore, they're supposed to be force sensitive, like almost like Padawans in training.
Sort of, like right.
You probably could have done something more with that, like
Because they didn't use the Force on them.
No, but they're supposed to be really strong, like in general, like you'd even be able to take Jedis. So I'm like, if these guys are able to, these guys are just knocking down these novices like nothing, whatever.
Okay.
But that was just me.
Well, speaking of it, they do it twice. There's the scene where Leia, like we think Leia dies, and does her weird.
Psych.
Fuck, I hated that.
Yeah, I did too.
But also, there's the scene where Finn looks like he's about to like fucking fly right into the cannon.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that actually.
I was like, okay, that probably would have been like one of the best scenes in the fucking movie. And
right, it would have been the memorable part.
Yeah.
And then you had fucking,
what's her face?
Who I would like to call the Chinese market pandering character.
Oh my god.
Smash into Finn and be like, love will save us all.
Yeah, no chemistry between them at all.
I like how she falls in love with them in like 8 hours.
They had the chemistry of oil and water.
Right.
That was not a race joke.
But it's true.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my bullet points.
Go ahead. Let's move on here quick.
Yeah, you guys already hit everything. So what I'm gonna do is go over the big points. Number one, we already went over the whole Leia using, because they like you said, Luke, they used things where they were rumored, like Leia having force powers. That was a rumor. What happened with Luke, and how strong is Rey and Kylo, and what are Rey's origins. So we saw those in the film. I'm gonna just say right now, I hated the Leia thing. It was just weird. Like, if you're gonna show her having like some type of force power, like I thought it was maybe gonna be something where it's like force heal, like she was gonna heal somebody or something like that. That would have been acceptable. But to have her go out, like die, because I was totally accepting the fact that she was gonna die there. There's casualties in war. It's like a Game of Thrones death. You're just like, oh shit, like damn, she dies there. You know what I mean? I was totally accepting it. Which, by the way, Admiral Akbar, anybody? Like, he just...
I was like, poor Admiral Akbar!
They're just like, Leia's alive and Admiral Akbar,
It's a trap!
I was just like, what the
fuck? Oh, by the way, Admiral Akbar's dead.
Yeah, and then in the movie, they didn't even give a fuck. They were just like, okay.
Oh, jeez.
Kill these guys off.
So that was one thing, and then... I guess I can go either or on the Luke stuff. I'm not too keen because, again, like, Luke's character was the guy who was like, no, I see good in my father. I'm gonna give myself up, and I'm gonna see if I turn him. Why would he? Like, okay, I had one mess up with my nephew. Now I just never want to train anybody again. I'm gonna go to this island to die. Yet he's still living on the island.
Himself from the force.
So he exiles himself from the force, but he went to the island to die.
Yeah.
That was weird. So, and another thing is, Rey went to Luke to get trained, yet she was fighting perfectly on her own. Like, Luke did not train her at all. He showed her, like, a couple of moves, and that was about it, not even. And then, like, at the end of the move,
I know, we had to watch
sword, like,
a whole movie and a half of Luke carrying Yoda on his back.
I know.
Before he was ready. He couldn't even beat Vader.
And then here's the thing, like, and then they kind of referenced the whole thing about lifting the rocks. Like, there was a pile of rocks at the end of the movie, and Rey just, like, lifts them up like nothing. But in Empire Strikes Back, Luke was, like, you know, the infamous scene of him, like, handstanding and kind of lifting the rocks, and he could barely do it. Like, and then he's trying to lift his X-Wing out of the swamp. He's like, it's too heavy, I can't do it. So there was a lot of, like,
yeah, he still couldn't do it in that movie either.
Rey was just doing things in the movie. She's just like, no, I can do this. I can use the Force.
I didn't like how powerful they made her, and I hated that Force connection between the two of them.
But it was between, Snork was the one that made that happen.
I didn't even care about that. Go ahead, hurry up.
The Snork thing. This is my final thing. The Snork thing. Snork dying.
That was so lame.
So supposedly Snork is dead now, as we know it, right? He was supposed to be this almighty. Where the hell did he come from? We still don't know anything about the guy at all. Like, he's got, like, a storyline on his face. We'll never know, since he just dies like a bitch. And he dies, like, terrible, too. He's just like, yeah,
I know you'll
never betray me. I know his move. He gets just, like, killed like a bitch.
I actually really like that. I don't even think he was at all. I think the idea is that, like, he might have just been, like, a dude who had the Force, and he was like, oh, yeah, I am secretly, but it's like he's kind of just full of shit, and he's a fraud. I'm kind of down with that.
I don't know. It was kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan. It was really like, what the fuck?
What was it? Yes, I was at the Kylo Ren and the Rey scene where he's got his shirt off.
God, that part was awkward.
It was.
It was such a fucking Ron Burgundy moment. He's like, oh, hey, Rey, I didn't see you there.
Clever
girl. That should have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's all I got. I mean, it's a subpar movie. I give it the same score Rob gets it. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
You want to finish up, Squid?
Oh yeah, with Snork, I mean, there's been so much fan kind of theory about it that he was actually one of the littlings from when Anakin was.
No, he's Darth Plagueis. That was one of them.
Was it?
Yeah, he's supposed to be Darth Plagueis.
Well, that was one of the fan theories I heard of. But with Luke, I mean, I will have to agree. I mean, I did not like how they made him become like this Obi-Wan hermit living on all by himself.
Obi-Wan and Yoda. He's like.
But the one thing I did like about this movie is that they kind of brought back Yoda and Frank Oz doing the voice.
But why though? Why did they bring him back? Just be like, hey, here,
watch you burn down your home, yeah.
Well, and to me, in that part, it was.
I like them. I like the puppet. I like the Yoda.
Yeah, it was a puppet. It was a puppet, but it was just kind of like, what the fuck? Again?
That was random.
Well, but as I'm saying, they were trying to kind of push Luke to going back to the Force because he was teetering in, like, how he wanted to burn down the books and how Yoda miraculously sends down lightning and strikes the tree.
He probably knew Rey stole them, so he was just like, fuck it.
I mean, he could have. I mean, and that was kind of interesting to see. Oh, the books are inside. I kind of was.
What was your like biggest take out of it?
My biggest take. I mean, like how everybody said, it was a subpar movie. I mean, I wish it could have been better. I mean, there was no moments where I was like, yes, I'm cheering.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's true. Like, you just kind of left the movie out like, what the?
Yeah.
I mean,
saw it.
But wait. You guys didn't like the moment you found out that Luke was a Force projection. You were like, oh fuck.
I was just like,
I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, I did like that part. That surprised me because, like, when Rilo Ken just slices him half, I mean, I expected to see him slide off, but it was a projection.
That was weird because he cut him, and now did he kill him legitimately?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Luke just died because he sweated a lot. That's what I was to me.
I mean, that was kind of weird. I mean, alright, so he's a projection, and then you can go back to him, and then he just mysteriously disappears.
What's your
I honestly, I'd probably give it a 6. Not even a 6.5, just a plain 6.
Alright, so moving on here. We're going to get into some more space topics. So, some of the biggest things that are hitting the news cycle now is a lot about UFOs. So apparently there was a video that came out featuring a UFO, and it was the secret Pentagon program that analyzed the mysterious aircraft. Basically, it was an interview with British Broadcast Telegraph, published on Saturday. Luis Elizondo told the newspaper of the sightings. In my opinion, it was court law that we have reached the point beyond reasonable doubt. I hate to use the term UFO, but that's what we're looking at, he added. I think it's pretty clear that it's not us or anyone else, so one has to ask, where are they from? He says that the existence of UFOs has been proved beyond reasonable doubt, according to the secret Pentagon program. So we're going to actually ask the question today, does Trump actually know anything about UFOs? Because we've actually covered this a little bit on one of our previous shows where we talked about Hillary Clinton and UFOs. Because it was actually an interesting race between the two. You had one candidate that was was for full disclosure on UFOs, and Trump didn't really have an answer to that. But I really gotta tell everyone we know.
We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
So we gotta sort this out right here, So let me ask you guys this here. With Trump being warring in the intelligence community, do you think he has any knowledge of UFOs? Do you think they actually keep that stuff from him? Or do you think he actually has? Because Sarah Sanders actually, when they were pressed about it, she didn't give an answer. She said that, she'll have to ask Donald Trump if he knows. And there's never been any evidence that he's been briefed on this Pentagon situation, this Pentagon program.
Here's my likely scenario of what happened. I believe perhaps he has been mentioned about the UFOs, but because it does not include an image of his electoral victory. Well, that's my jokey answer, but in all honesty, I can completely imagine that they have not disclosed any of this information to him.
I don't think they have, and my answer is going to be a little bit different from everybody else's,
That was awesome.
We had to throw that Predator sound effect. So my answer is going to be a little bit different here. So I actually don't think he has any knowledge, but more or less because he doesn't care. Yeah. Because I don't think he really cares to know. Because like we said, when we did our research, and I'm telling all our listeners to go back and listen to our old Beyond Classified on this, we actually discovered that Donald Trump doesn't have an opinion. We actually have a clip about this, and we'll play it for you right now. So this is when Donald Trump was pressed on the campaign trail on whether he wants UFO disclosure. So here, let's play that for you now.
Trump, what are you going to do about UFO files? 22 countries have disclosed their UFO files. What are you going to do about that? Has anything crossed your desk? UFO files. UFO files. When are we going to disclose? Are we ever going to disclose? We need to know the truth. We need to know the truth. Thank you, sir. We need to know the truth. When are we going to disclose UFO files? When are we going to disclose?
First of all, that clip, I love the guy's like, make America great again. But yeah, no, he didn't even answer. He didn't even give an answer whatsoever. So, it was kind of interesting. And, we don't, like we said, this is a part of our show where we talk conspiracies and just kind of up in the air with everything. Put on your tinfoil hat with us, But seriously, we had two candidates in the race that many people don't know. One was literally for open disclosure on UFOs. The other one didn't say a goddamn word about it. And, you hear a lot about the deep state. You hear a lot about the whole, the back channel rogue government. Well, the back channel rogue government doesn't really like when people talk about UFOs. So that's actually kind of the conclusion we came to, too, is that maybe it wasn't an election between, and this is just conspiracy, an election between Hillary and Trump. Maybe it was an election between a candidate that would be quiet about disclosure and one that was all open about it.
I mean, that would be something. I could totally see Trump not caring whatsoever about UFOs and just leaving a division to...
I mean, why would he? Think about it. Why would he care?
Probably it would be fake news. I mean,
well, not even. But why would he need to care? I mean, think about it. Think about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton once said, and we've covered this in our show. Bill Clinton even said there is factions within the government that hold things even from the president. And sometimes they wait out those presidents.
I can.
So I don't know, Luke. I mean, what do you think, Luke?
Well, I mean, if Clinton said that, then Hillary also would be aware of that, and of course, and if those factions would know, they'd be like, "Oh, fuck, Hillary Clinton would absolutely open those up." And yeah, I know. It's very clear. Even if Trump was aware of any of this information, he'd be too stupid to handle it well. It would probably be easily manipulated, as all of the Russian investigations are
right.
Implying. He's also 70 fucking years old and his brain's going away. So it's actually a little ironic that he's the only elderly crazy person that doesn't believe in UFOs. So
dang.
Yeah, I would say this is an interesting story that has popped up, and again, it's like the increasing evidence has been shown of UFOs. What that implies, I don't know, because again, is it a cosmic phenomenon? Is it actually alien spacecraft? Is it it's like what? Obviously, the term UFO invokes a very specific. It invokes a very specific image. The idea that there are aliens here or whatever, but again, like there's any number of things. It could be a form of natural phenomenon we don't even know about.
Well, I think there are 4 levels. Okay, let me tell you what the 4. The first level is it's a phenomenon the government doesn't believe it. Right. Okay. Second level is that the government knows about it. They are currently researching it, but they deny it. Then there's the third level where the government and they know about it and they're working with the aliens. Then there's the fourth, in which the aliens are working hand in hand with Trump on top of his head. That's right.
You're telling me the aliens are the hair?
That is the hair piece. It's like a face hugger, like.
No wonder when people talk to it in close proximity, they're like, "What the hell?"
I'm imagining. See, here's the thing. I'm imagining like 2 months from. I'm imagining a scenario where level 4 is true, and like in 2 months. And in 2 months, there's a New York Times article like, in this town in West Virginia, these coal miners still believe in Trump, even though he has an alien.
Right. They would believe in him. It's like Trump has alien on his head. Do Trump supporters bail?
My 2 questions with that. If that is true...
Here out in buttfuck Arizona, the Trump supporters believe in the alien brain now on his head.
What are you going to say,
Scoop? He told us he's going to represent us, and I don't care if he's got a face hugger.
Right.
But as I was saying, I mean, would they infect his speech and affect his hands while trying to take a drink of water? Because twice already...
that's probably what it is, dude. That's probably why his mind is going, because this alien is like eating at his brain, so he has to pick up like us, like a little baby now, because I have no coordination.
Now I get it.
It's like the worms in Futurama, but the opposite. It's working backwards.
Oh my god! It all makes sense now.
The thing that's so funny about this, I'm just thinking, as soon as he was elected, he's like, "What's your alien program?" They're like, yeah, go into this room, and they just showed him the Alien film. And they're just like, yeah, that was it. One on YouTube, and
they're like, let's just stop this right now. This is absolutely true, Mr. President. This is true. And they showed him the actual video of Roswell when he's holding the weather balloon. They're like, that's a spacecraft right there. That's all true.
The gray alien that they have on the autopsy test, he's just like, is this true? Like, yeah, totally true.
Totally true.
That just happens. You cannot tell anybody that.
Oh God! But serious stuff, though. Seriously, I don't believe he has any knowledge of UFOs. I think they completely keep that away from Trump.
I agree. I don't think he cares either.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. But it kind of goes hand in hand with what we were saying though on our last Beyond Classified. It's like, even if he does care, he doesn't care. Does that matter to the establishment or to that rogue faction that a lot of ufologists believe exists? The Men in Black, yada yada.
I don't know. It's so hard to say, because it was so rumored that the Men in Black, as they say, is like they were separate from like the government and stuff like that. They worked on their own accord, and the Congress and the government would kind of work.
Trump would shit his pants if he got a fist.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. I don't know. That's another thing. Like, is there like another level 2 to this? Like, yeah.
He asked about it. He's like, "The Men in Black exist. Does Will Smith really exist? Does Will Smith really have a top secret clearance higher than Trump?
Will Smith
higher than Trump?"
They're just like, yeah, you want to see a second briefing? Like, yes, of course. And they actually just show him the Ripley Scott Alien first film. Like, yeah, that actually happened.
Yeah, this is a documentary.
This is a documentary, and he's just like, we need to get on top of this right now.
Well, they showed him the War of the Worlds.
Oh, shit.
Tom Cruise. He's just like, get this man a medal.
Oh, man. But no, I actually don't think he does. I think, well, first of all, I don't think he can care about UFOs because he's got the Russia scandal breathing up his ass, let alone aliens.
And 2, he's on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter constantly, and like we keep saying,
We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
I can totally see him just like FaceTiming, like just government operations.
But here's something really interesting. You guys are gonna love this, and we'll end this with this part of the show. So one of the things that happened to Trump when he was elected president was there was a light that followed him to the White House, and some people said it was a UFO. And they said not only were we watching the election, the world, but then out of this world people were watching the election. They wanted to see Trump win. But not only that, the evangelicals said it was an angel.
Oh,
it was God following Trump.
So God himself, she-self has a Make America Great hat?
Bull fucking shit.
The aliens
That's what I have to say. No.
Make a great hat.
The aliens have one too?
America.
Oh my god, that'd be the worst thing ever.
What are you saying, Luke?
The scariest fucking thing is the idea of, because obviously Trump has demonstrated just how many idiots there are at the highest levels of government. I'm now thinking of a really horrifying scenario where even the aliens that control the earth are also giant idiots.
Oh, God, right. I know, Russ, God, that's a good point you bring up, and we actually got to cover this on our show, too. With the election of Trump, and we've spoken about this, but no one's really bringing this up. We always heard from Alice Jones, the deep state, the government, they're coming after you and everything, all the Satanists killing children, raping the children, Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. But when Donald Trump was elected, what the fuck happened? Did all that stuff, disappear? You thought he was going to go clean house, so apparently he wants to clean house, but it's like, apparently it's either and why'd they let him win? That's what I never understood too. If it was such a fucking conspiracy, do you think they would have killed him, or why'd they even let him win?
Right. They're like, well, we want one of the hats and the shirts, and then
it's like because the Illuminati were like, you know what? Let's flip a coin on this one. Let's just roll the dice. Let's just be like a crazy guy. But seriously, his election to me kind of proved that either A, all those conspiracies are bullshit, or B, he knows nothing about what's really going on. I mean, they're secretly walking alien corpses out the White House back door.
He's like,